Before we get into this one, if you could just hit that subscribe button down below, that would mean a massive amount to me. But without further ado, let's get into the transfer news. So the first transfer is somebody that we've been linked to from the French league. Now, Alberth Ellis is a 26-year-old Honduran who can play anywhere across the front line and has done for Bordeaux this season. He's played left wing, striker and right wing. He scored 9 goals, assisted 1, and that is in 20 games. So that's not a bad return. That's a goal contribution every 2 games. And his price is in the region of £10 million. And I think that is very reasonable for somebody who is in a top 5 league and performing with a 1-in-2 goal to game ratio. I think it's a very good deal. I don't know whether it is dependent on Rafinha leaving. That is the only thing. And I think perhaps they're trying to emulate the Rafinha transfer if they do go for this one, because he's a little bit of an unknown. He's played in the MLS, he's played in the Portuguese league for Boa Vista. He's a little bit of an unknown to the wider European market. Like I say, he's only going to be about £10 million. So I think it's one of those, a bit like Rafinha. He was in Portugal, then he went to France, and it could be one of those bargain transfers that comes really, really good for a team like Leeds to A, have him a really good player in the team, and B, make massive profit if it does come to that. I don't think this will go across the line if we keep Rafinha, but whether we keep Rafinha is obviously a different matter. I don't think we will keep him, and then maybe this is something that you might see a little bit later on in the window if we do need somebody to come in and add a bit of extra depth in those attacking positions if Rafinha is to go elsewhere. He's been linked to Arsenal, Liverpool, a few other clubs. So to be honest, I'm not going to speak about Rafinha now for a while until anything solid comes out, because there's just more rumours week on week about the same player and where he might be going. So we're going to leave Rafinha for now. But this guy, I think, will only come in if Rafinha does leave. The second transfer I want to talk about is Ola Aina. Now, the first year we came up, Ola Aina was playing for Fulham at right back. And he's English born, but a Nigerian national team player. And he came through the Chelsea Academy, went to Fulham, of course. He's been abroad. At the moment, he's at Torino. He's been in the French league, I think, as well. So he's been all over. I don't see this one, to be honest. The reason for that is we have obviously just signed Rasmus Christensen, who looked great. Ola Aina is primarily a right back. He has played left back before, but he's right footed, so it would be another Stuart Dallas situation where he's a right footed player playing at left back, and Stuart Dallas obviously performed admirably when he came in there, but it's not something that I really think should be a permanent option, to be playing somebody with a right foot at left back. So the Ola Aina one, I wouldn't like to see that transfer go through, to be honest. Personally, there are other transfers that I think are much more important, like, say, holding midfielder. I've said in previous videos, holding midfielder, striker, and we're actually going to get onto those 2 positions now. So the next 2 are the more concrete and the more exciting one. The first one is a Valentino Castellanos. He's a 23-year-old Argentine forward playing for New York City FC in the MLS. He looks very promising because he's scored 7 goals and 1 assist in 11 games this season for the MLS. Obviously, the MLS runs differently to the Premier League, so it actually is the MLS 2022, so it starts in January and only goes throughout the year. It's not over multiple years like the Premier League season is. But he's also played it in the CONCACAF Champions League, which is like the South American version of the Champions League. Obviously, our Champions League is only for Europe. And he scored 4 goals and assisted 4 in 6 games in that competition. So he's actually outputting more goals and assists than games played in that competition. So that's obviously a really, really good record. And for somebody who's 23 and rumoured to only be around 12 to 15 million pounds, I think it would be an excellent investment. Obviously, he's unproven in the Premier League, he's unproven in European football, but because he's in the MLS and because his price is 12 to 15 million pounds, it's not a huge amount for a Premier League club to pay for a striker. So if he does come good, then that could be a really, really, really good investment and really good return on your money if he does come good. And I can see that he's possible. It is possible for him to do that. The potential is all there. He's 23. He's already played for the Argentine under-23 national team, and he looks like he's on the road to becoming a bit of a star. So if we can get our hands on him above other teams who are sniffing around, like West Ham United, hopefully we could get our hands on him, and he would be an excellent addition to our forward line. Now, for me, the most interesting one now, we need a holding midfielder. Obviously, we signed Brendan Aronson, who's an attacking midfielder, and that was the first attacking midfielder we've signed in, I think it was like 7.5 transfer windows, something ridiculous like that. But the holding midfielder for me is the real position that we need to improve on. Obviously, Castellanos is there, but also Marc Roca. Now, Marc Roca is at Bayern Munich. People are saying he hasn't had much game time at Bayern Munich, and there's a reason for that. And according to sources inside the Bayern Munich camp, it's nothing to do with attitude, application, anything like that. It is more to do with the fact that players ahead of him, like Joshua Kimmich, Thiago before he left, brilliant midfielders. There's always a line of brilliant midfielders. Corentin Tolisso, who also looks like he's on his way out. Goretzka as well. They've got so many amazing midfielders that he wasn't ever really gonna have a pathway to the first team. Before that, though, he was at Espanyol in Spain. Espanyol got relegated, and that's why Barcelona were able to pick up Marc Roca for a cut price. But in the Spanish league before they got relegated, he looked like a really, really promising top young talent. And it's one of those transfers to me where Victor Orta has identified that it's a player who's gone off the boil a little bit for no fault of his own, to be honest. He's just not getting game time. And he feels like Orta that he can bring him in and revitalise his career and get an amazing player for a cheap deal. So Marc Roca is 25. He plays as a holding midfielder, like I say. He would complement Calvin Phillips really well. He's also left-footed, which means he obviously would play on the left-hand side of that double pivot that Jesse Marsch likes to play. So you'd have Marc on the left, Calvin on the right, and the right foot and left foot should complement each other well if we are to keep hold of Calvin Phillips. He would cost 10 to 15 million pounds. So there's the cut price that I was talking about. And with his range of passing, his tackling, I think it would be an excellent deal for Leeds United. A real top pedigree talent to bring in. And if he was to sit alongside Calvin Phillips, hopefully this sort of transfer, if it goes through, is the sort of thing that would actually make Calvin Phillips think, okay, they're serious about recruiting here. They're serious about trying to get to the next level. And if he was to bring a player like Marc Roca in with his distribution, his tackling, like I say, I think that would be a fantastic investment, especially if he could, like I say, sit behind those attacking players with Calvin in front of the defence and completely solidify out that midfield, because we haven't really had another option since Jesse Marsch has come in to sit next to Calvin. We've had pretty much people who are just going to have to play there because there's nobody else. Like Mateusz Klich, he's an attacking midfielder. We've had central defenders like Robin Koch step in there, but I think I'd like to see Koch play more as an actual centre-back this season, and let somebody like Marc Roca come in and really shore up that midfield in there, because I think we could be Roca solid. Okay, I forgive you if you unsubscribe for that one. That's going to be it for this video, though. Just another transfer update. Obviously, I've been away for a few days. I was down in London seeing Queen, which was amazing. But I'm back to it now, uploading videos again, and you should catch me on next week's Midweek Fix on Joe Wainman's channel, the Just Joe Football Show. So look out for that. I know a few of you have come over from Joe's channel, so shout out to you guys. So that's going to be it for this one. Thanks for checking out Leeds Lately again. Subscribe if you're new, like the video if you enjoyed it, and I shall see you next time.